So one important distinction whenever you're thinking about and talking about a cell is defining the difference between the cytoplasm and the cytoskeleton. Okay, now the cytoplasm is a highly viscous solution where reactions are going to take place. You can almost take for granted the cytoplasm because it's the site and the space where your reactions are going to take place. The cytoskeleton is something that's a little bit more involved, and we'll talk about a little bit this semester. The reason that we'll talk about it is because we'll ultimately be discussing actin filaments and different filamentous proteins. So the cytoskeleton consists of microtubules, actin filaments, and intermediate filaments. So think about this, and the key here is skeleton. So the cell's skeleton, the parts of that cell that are basically the structure of that cell and how it's maintained. The cytoskeleton is going to define cellular shape as well as division, intracellular organization, intracellular transport pathways, as well as cellular mobility. Now, biochemistry, the field, is the chemistry of living matter. It's the basis of all life and the chemical reactions that take place within a cell. Chemistry allows for a high degree of complexity and organization. The extraction, transformation, and systemic use of energy to create and maintain structures and to do work. The interactions of individual components to be dynamic and coordinated. The ability to sense and respond to changes in surrounding environments. A capacity for fairly precise self-replication while allowing change of evolution. So biochemistry is kind of it's a complex, that's a fairly wordy definition, a complex definition. But if there was one takeaway that I want for you to have, it would be this. It's the basis of all life, the chemical reactions of all life. So the basis of all life is chemical reactions that take place within a cell. So we will talk about the individual molecules, but we will also talk about those individual molecules and how they build up. For instance, an amino acid is a monomer. Well, that monomer is going to contribute to the formation of a polymer or a polymeric or a protein polymer. And so we will talk about the individual interactions that single amino acid has, but we'll also try to talk about it in the broader space, in the broader scope of things. Now, organisms can be classified in addition to prokaryote and eukaryote. They can be defined based on the energy source that they use. So light harvesting molecules classified as phototrophs, whereas chemical harvesting molecules are also known as chemotrophs. So then the question becomes, whenever you're talking about chemotrophs, well, what's the carbon source? Is it going to be CO2 or is it going to be an organic compound? When you're talking about light harvesting molecules, well, what's your carbon source? Is it going to be organic compounds or CO2? Now, in the case of CO2, your end game from a light harvesting molecule is you're going to go through photosynthesis and you're going to fall into the category of plants or algae, or specific cyanobacteria, and you're going to construct large sugars because you're going to use water to reduce that carbon dioxide. This is something that's worthwhile to appreciate for if you go on to take a metabolism class. So this is something you'll get into a little bit more whenever you take that class.